This is the second recording of my learner from grade 6.
The Educated Man in the Pensan from Stars to Get by G.T. Morris. Once upon a time there was a young man from Pachares who has just finished university. He was proud of his knowledge and smart and so decided to leave the big city and make he was teaching peasant in the countryside. Immediately he was met with difficulties. He found the people did take too heavily to being considerate from stupid that for he was 22 and most of the people that he met were much older. If he was to teach them, he would the prove that he was smarter, feeling confident of his power. He made a worker with a peasant. If the peasant could answer the educated man's question, then the peasant will have to hand over 3 lei. The educated man chuckled to himself, "This is going to be easy." Many the entire village gathered to witness the quiz, and the educated man asked the first question, "What is the capital of Igla?" The peasant answered, "I don't know. I will give you 3 lei." London, the people gas. They were interested. The educated man pocketed the money and asked a second question. What moves very fast but does look like is the moving at all? The peasant answered, "I don't know. I will give you 3 lei." The earth, the educated man pocketed the money and asked a third question. Where goes up in the way and down at night? The peasant answered, "I don't know. I will give you 3 lei." The educated man and had taken from the peasant a total of 9 lei. Now the peasant was poor and his wife started to cry. However, his turn and the peasant always which asked the educated man a question, but he could not answer it. He would have to hand over 1,000 lei to the peasant. The educated man quickly agreed and to write to himself, "This surely should pull. What guess in the morning with 2 legs, at noon with 4 legs, and the evening with 6 legs." There was a long silence, and everyone was staring at the educated man. He searched his brain for a long time, but to no avail. He did not know the answer and had a pause, but to hand over 5,000 lei, which was 10 everything he had afterwards of the educated man was curious and so asked, "So what goes in the morning with 2 legs, at noon with 4, and the evening with 6? The peasant answered, "I don't know. I will give you 3 lei." The educated man in the peasant.
The learner mispronounced the word and as in, and the learner mispronounced the word peasant as pensant.
From stars to get by G.T. Morris.
The learner initially said get, then she corrected it and said get.
Ounce and pound na tayo.
The learner mispronounced the word once as once, and the learner mispronounced the word upon as ambine.
There was a young man.
The learner was mispronounced the word young as young.
From Pachares who has just.
The learner was mispronounced the word Bucharest as Bucharest. The learner was mispronounced the word who as who, and the learner was mispronounced the word had as has.
Finished university. He was from.
The learner was mispronounced the word proud as from.
Of his knowledge and smart and so.
The learner was omitted the word s from the word smarts.
Decided to leave the big city and make his way.
The learner was mispronounced the word his as his, and the learner was mispronounced the word way as wis.
Teaching peasant
The learner was omitted the word s from the word peasants.
in the countryside.
The learner was mispronounced the word countryside as countryside.
Immediately he was.
The learner was mispronounced the word immediately as immediately lately, and the learner was mispronounced the word he as I.
Meet with difficulties.
The learner was mispronounced the word met as mate, and the learner was mispronounced the word with as we, and the learner was mispronounced the word difficulties as difficulties.
Keep on the people.
The learner was mispronounced the word found as found, and the learner was mispronounced the word that as the, and the learner was inserted a letter D from the word people.
Did take to headly.
The learner was mispronounced the word kindly as kedly.
To be being considerate.
The learner made an unsuccessful correction. The first word that she said is be, then later on she said beanie, and the learner mispronounced the word considered as considerate.
From stupid that he.
The learner was mispronounced the word more as from, and the learner was mispronounced the word than as that.
For he was 22 and most of the people.
The learner was mispronounced the word most as moose.
He met were much older.
The learner omitted the word that.
If he was to teach them.
The learner was mispronounced the word teach as tish.
He was the pro.
The learner was mispronounced the word would as wold, and the learner was mispronounced the word have as the, and the learner was mispronounced the word probe as probe.
That he was smarter.
The learner was mispronounced the word smarter as smarter.
Feeling confident.
The learner was mispronounced the word confident as confident.
Of his power.
The learner initially said he, then she corrected it and she said his, and the learner omitted the word s from the word powers.
He made a walker.
The learner was mispronounced the word wager as water.
With a peasant.
The learner was mispronounced the word present from the word peasant.
If the peasant.
The learner was mispronounced the word peasant as peasant.
Could and answer.
The learner was mispronounced the word couldn't as couldn't.
Answer the educated man's question, then the peasant will have
The learner was mispronounced the word peasant as peasant, and the learner was mispronounced the word wood as will.
to hand over 3 ladies.
The learner omitted the word "the" from the word "hand."
The educated man chilled chocolate to himself.
The learner made an unsuccessful correction. The first word that she said is chili, then later on she said chocolate.
This is going to be easy. Money.
The learner made an unsuccessful correction. The first word that she said is I, then later on she said B. The learner initially said me, then she corrected it and said money.
The entire village country.
The learner was mispronounced the word enter as enter, and the learner was mispronounced the word gathered as gathered.
To witness the quiz and
The learner inserted a word "and."
the educated man.
The learner was mispronounced the word educated as tuncated.
Asked the first question.
The learner was mispronounced the word ask as asked, and the learner was mispronounced the word first as purse, and the learner was mispronounced the word question as question.
What is the capital of England?
The learner was mispronounced the word England as igla.
The peasant answered,
The learner omitted the word ed.
I don't know. I will give you 3 ladies on
The learner omitted the word "n."
the people gas.
The learner made an unsuccessful correction. The first word that she said is ga, then later on she said gas.
They were interested.
The learner was mispronounced the word impress as impressed.
The educated man pocketed the money
The learner was mispronounced the word money as many.
and asked a second question.
The learner was mispronounced the word ask as asken, and the learner was mispronounced the word question as question.
What moves very fast but does look like
The learner was mispronounced the word doesn't as does.
is the moving at all.
The learner omitted the word it, and the learner inserted a word the.
The peasant answered,
The learner omitted the word ed from the word answered.
I don't know. I will give you 3.
The learner was mispronounced the word tree as ter, and the learner was mispronounced the word lay as lay.
The earth, the educated man pocketed the money.
The learner was mispronounced the word money as many.
Asked a third question.
The learner was mispronounced the word ask as asked, and the learner initially said tree, then she corrected it and said third.
There goes up.
The learner was mispronounced the word what as were.
Way and down.
The learner was omitted the word the, and the learner was mispronounced the word they as way, and the learner inserted a word ah.
At night. The peasant answered,
The learner omitted the word ed from the word answered.
I don't know.
The learner inserted a letter ah.
I will give you 3 lines. The educated man and had taken from.
The learner was inserted a word and.
from the peasant a total of 9 lei. Now the peasant was poor and his
The learner was mispronounced the word poor as poor. The learner initially said he, then she corrected it and she said his.
wife started to cry. However, the his turn and
The learner was mispronounced the word however as howdever, and the learner was mispronounced the word at as the, and the learner inserted a word and.
the peasant always read
The learner was mispronounced the word also as only.
which get the axe.
The learner made an unsuccessful correction. The first word that she said is wish, then later on she said whisked. The learner omitted the word to, and the learner mispronounced the word ask as ask.
The educated man a question,
The learner was mispronounced the word question as question.
but is he could
The learner was mispronounced the word if as is, and the learner was mispronounced the word could as cold.
not answer it. His will have to
The learner was mispronounced the word he as his, and the learner was mispronounced the word would as wool.
hand over 1,000 lei to the peasant.
The learner was mispronounced the word peasant as peasant.
The educated man quickly agreed.
The learner was mispronounced the word quickly as quickly. And the learner made an unsuccessful correction. The first word that she said is aggravated, then later on she said acre.
And to write to himself
The learner omitted the word thought.
this surely should pull.
The learner was mispronounced the word this as dish, and the learner was mispronounced the word surely as should, and the learner was mispronounced the word full as pull.
What gets in the morning with 2 legs, at noon with 4 legs.
The learner was mispronounced noon as noon, and the learner was mispronounced the word for as por.
And in the evening
The learner was mispronounced the word evening as evening.
with 6 legs. There was a long
The learner was mispronounced the word long as lawn.
silence and everyone
The learner initially said sile, then she corrected it and she said silence.
was staring.
The learner was mispronounced the word staring as staring.
And the educated man,
The learner inserted a word and.
he searched his brain.
The learner made an unsuccessful correction. The first word that she said is she, and the second word that she said is surge. And the learner inserted a word it.
For a long time, but to no avail. He did not know
The learner inserted a word ah.
the answer and the had
The learner inserted a word the.
a pose,
The learner was mispronounced the word choice as pose.
but to hand over 5,000 lei, which was 10 everything he had.
The learner was mispronounced the word had as han.
Afterwards of
The learner was inserted a word off.
the educated man was curious
The learner was mispronounced the word curious as curious.
and so asked.
The learner was mispronounced the word ask as asked.
So what goes in the morning with two legs at noon?
The learner was mispronounced the word noon as noon.
For and the evening
The learner was mispronounced the word evening as evening.
with six. The peasant answered,
The learner omitted the word ed from the word answered.
I don't know. I will give you the relay.
The learner initially said ter, then she corrected it and she said 3.